Welcome to St. Bart's.
When I was 9, I read the Odyssey. I got fascinated with traveling by water and realizing that the whole world is waterways. So I built the dream of retiring and living on a boat so I could see the world from a very young age.
Blaine and Marnie Stevenson love sailing. They have sailed all over, and they became friends with another couple who loves sailing, Brian and Lynette Hooker.
My mom always tried to show up, like, no matter what I had going on in my life. She was my #1 supporter. I go to her about everything. I always relied on her grounded approach to life, so it was just nice to have her share that wisdom with me sometimes.
My daughter could swim, scuba dive, brought up on a lake, knows how to manage boats, and enjoyed life. And that's my girl. My daughter and Brian have been married for 25 years.
I think she liked how he could be a charmer. He's very good at talking, very good at convincing you of thinking in certain ways.
In 2020, Brian and Lynette sold their house and all of their possessions. And their dream was to get a boat.
That is their life, traveling on the Soulmate, their boat.
They were documenting their adventures at sea. They called themselves the Sailing Hookers.
On the night of April 4th, they were in the Bahamas and they had dinner that night at the Abaco Inn.
They left the Abaco Inn around 7:30. When I spoke with the manager of the Abaco Inn, he told us that they weren't like overly drunk, they weren't fighting, that nothing really seemed out of place. They got in their dinghy to head back to their sailboat.
Mr. Hooker states that a storm came up suddenly.
She basically just bounced off the dinghy in the middle of a little blow, like 20-some knot winds that popped up on a half-mile maybe trip.
And that his wife, an avid swimmer, fell overboard. I believe he's used the term bounced off the dinghy, whatever that means.
Blaine Stevenson, he records a phone call with Brian Hooker. He says that Brian is all out of sorts. He sounds very desperate.
Every single thing failed. We weren't wearing life jackets. It was sundown, and the sun set, like, basically 10 minutes after she fell over.
Brian Hooker claims to law enforcement that he tried his best to save her, throwing out a life preserver to try to help her, but he lost her under the water. Brian says that he is screaming, trying to find her. He shoots off a flare, anything, but it's all for naught. He can't find her.
Lynette falls out of the dinghy with the keys attached to her, and the engine shuts off. Brian is now in the dinghy, has no power, and he has no choice but to paddle. He says he paddles for hours across the bay to Marsh Harbor. By the time he gets there, it's 4 a.m., and that's when he calls police.
Almost immediately, this becomes an all-out search. The Royal Bahamian Police Force, the Defense Force, local fire rescue teams. It is an all-out effort to find Lynette Hooker.
That was the initial offer to Brian. When I was on the phone with him, I'm like, well, who do you need? What do you need?
As the days go by, Blaine says, things really don't seem to add up in Brian's explanation of what happened that night.
I can visually see the picture that he was painting for me, but then applying it to real life, it didn't line up.
One of the things that bothers us, and these are things that will probably haunt us forever, is she was a safety nut. She watched the weather station religiously and knew when the storms were coming in.
There were persistent gusty winds. That night, Lynette Hooker went missing. There was 2 weather advisories that were put in place by Bahamas authorities.
Someone who would be purported to be as capable and really proven as capable as Brian was, for him not to know the weather, it doesn't comport with his abilities. So they started here at Abaco, and right about here, right off Elbow Key, is where he reports she went overboard. He winds up all the way over here 9 hours later. And that doesn't comport with how the wind and the current would have taken that vessel. He would actually have to paddle against the current to get there. Plus, he would have to go over this sandbar. This is dry land. So, I mean, he would be standing, literally, there'd be no water here.
I needed more answers than what he was giving.
In June, the U.S. Coast Guard announces a really, really substantial search and investigation. They're bringing in divers. They're bringing in underwater drones. They're bringing in canines.
If they find a piece of clothing, a shoe, anything from Lynette that she might have had, there'll be more and more evidence that they will build against Brian Hooker to try to build a case.
This search came about because authorities looked at electronic devices, allegedly from Brian Hooker, and that data initially didn't match what Brian Hooker told the authorities, according to a U.S. official. And this is important because when Brian Hooker interviewed with authorities in the Bahamas, he actually omitted this particular area.
It seems like the GPS on the boat was off between 9 p.m. and the next morning. 90 minutes after Brian Hooker says Lynette was thrown off the dinghy.
After the Coast Guard wrapped up their latest search, they did not report anything.
It's hard, yeah, to grieve loss of your mom because there's no body, so how can you really know?
In the Hooker case, there's no evidence of planning, no confession, no anything that can point to circumstantial evidence as opposed to an accident. And the court of public opinion can have a different opinion, but the court of law, there's not more here until something is found. What happened to Lynette is still a mystery. Authorities have not named Brian Hooker as a suspect in an ongoing criminal investigation. Brian Hooker still maintains his innocence, regardless of what people say is possible or not in these waters.